I was rumored, I was slandered that I was this big crack addict. I was on coke and everything. There's some people who still even think that way. Social media is a cruel place. Really being a public figure have a lot to do. To sustain it is psychological.
How different was it to maintain an image? Because you started so young.
Right. You know, I don't think it's a particular moment in terms of like maintaining an image. There was a time like when action was out, I got caught up in that. But then I think everything became a blessing for me when my butt was kicked during that time. I was rumored, I was slandered that I was this big crack addict. I was on coke and everything at the top of my game. And it was excruciatingly painful. Even though I think some people say, yes, yeah, they are, whatsoever, and some people still have it in their heads. That's their problem anyway. I know the truth of who I am, and nothing was ever like that.
How bad was that? How
it was
bad
pervasive. I mean, it was people accepted that it was truth. People accepted that it was my reality. People accepted it. And as I said before, there's some people who still even think that way. It was the talk of Jamaica. It was the talk of the music industry around the world. It was awful. It was awful. Words cannot express how terrible it was.
That you were?
That I was this crack addict, I was on cocaine. I mean, they say these things all the time, but you must understand that when you are like the #1 artist across dancehall, when they say it, and here I was, that everybody knew me as this little, you know, people always laugh, this little country girl that went to school and blah, 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 with basically a clean track record. So when it came out, no, it was just like big Susan, everybody loving it, and people ran with it. Some people didn't believe, but a lot of people ran with it. Some of my friends who I thought would have understood, they started judging me from that paradigm, and it was extremely painful.
What triggered that rumor, though? Do you know?
Nothing triggered that rumor. Anything can trigger a rumor. People just will come up with those stuff. I say to myself, because I'm always exercising, my weight is always fluctuating. Because anybody know me, I am in the gym every single day. There's sometimes when I do more cardio, I lose weight. My personality is very and then I was younger then, and I guess, you know, my dad, I don't know. You must understand that I've tried to psychoanalyze it in every different way in terms of why it would have been said or whatsoever, and I really can't come up with anything concrete. And guess what? I realized that I've wasted enough energy on understanding what it was. I speak about it now, and I'm not speaking from a space of being defeated. I'm speaking from a space of having conquered. So when I say that I spent time, that was then. Now I'm like, bring it on, honey girl.
But what did it bring you to a very dark place?
Very, very, very dark place. I was extremely depressed. I was extremely hurt because everywhere I went, it was just like the accepted thing. I was depressed. I was very hurt, and yeah, a series of things happened simultaneously. I was dropped from Electra. They were rumoring and slandering me at the same time, and other stuff that happened personal. So it was just like a series of stuff at a very young age, you know, and I had to learn to navigate those things. But it was really just a very rough time for a person without any enough life experience, I thought.
And for a person in this global
global stuff. So here I am feeling hurt because of what is happening in my life. I mean, you're being rumor and slander, and it was more compounded. You know, after I was dropped from Electra and I came back to Jamaica, you're speaking like 20-something years ago, I came back to Jamaica and you're depressed and whatsoever, the rumor was even more fueled, which, you know, it's understandable for anybody who have been, you know, your dreams, I was there planning and blah, 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 action was this big hit, and to have that, anybody would have, you know, made you, I couldn't just come back and eat because it would have been not true.
So how did you navigate through all of that?
I don't know. Sanity? I don't know. Basically, I don't know. I had people who supported me. I had some people who scorned me. And sometimes the people who scorned me were the ones who really were on crack. That was the saddest thing that was the funniest thing that I learned in this process. I know, like, I'm looking back and I'm like, honey child, you scorned me because guess what? You were the one that was doing it, and I guess you needed somebody to make yourself feel good about yourself.
Do you think it would have been different if you had social media then?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I think it would have. Social media is a cruel place. Social media there are times like, you know, people say to me like, Nadine, you have to do more social media in. Sometimes I really don't like it because I find that it's so false in terms of people projecting this life, this wonderful life. Everybody want to be Kim and Kanye. There are some people that every minute there is a selfie. And you know, it's like my life and it can be extremely, for me, it's very disconcerting. When I see a lot of stuff, I'm like, what the hell are you posting that for on social media? So as I said before, and also because a lot of people are not dealing with their own issues. They see people's life and, you know, whatever it evoke or whatsoever, whosoever you are, to me, you show up on social media. We don't believe as Black people about counseling and speaking to people and all that. I don't know, mental illness on a whole. I think in the Jamaican society, we need to debunk a lot of stuff that we have around mental illness. It's foolishness. Somebody depressed, they're mad. This can be a very cruel and abusive society in how we treat people who are different.
And I think it starts in the families too.
It starts in the family.
Heritage, you have someone who is suffering from mental illness, depression, and you don't know how to deal with that. And because of that, that person is isolated and left to
even
suffer
delve deeper
and
into their mental into their depression. Yeah. But we also need, I think more than anything else, we need public service stuff to tell, you know, for people to understand mental illness on a different level. Right.
How unhealthy is it though in the music industry to be in a space where you're constantly glorified? You have your minute of fame and then tomorrow something went wrong and everybody turns against you.
We don't have any support group. I don't know how flexible the younger artists are in terms of being mentored. So many times I said, you know, Rising Stars was like an outlet for me, but in terms of being mentored, to have someone to say, you know, this will happen, this is not going to happen. So to preparing yourself psychologically,
right.
Apart from the physical stuff of the dancing and the singing, really being a public figure have a lot to do. To sustain it is psychological. You cannot live in that zone of heightness constantly, because when it goes, I've seen when it goes for some people, they cannot exist, or they surround themselves with a fakeness to constantly feed into that heightness that is not real. And you wonder how long will they will sustain that in terms of surrounding yourself like, you know, with yes people. A lot of times, you know, they always say that people who become artists is because a lot of them, you know, need to be validated. I would say to them, be prepared. Be prepared, because today is a wonderful hype. Tomorrow you'll be kicking your butt. Be prepared for being up. Be prepared for being down. Be prepared for and seek help. I would say seek help in any way. There must be someone that you can talk to.